The views and opinions expressed by the participants of this broadcast are their own and not necessarily shared by the sponsors, organizations, or individuals mentioned in this broadcast. It will contain topics and language unsuitable for younger listeners. Parental discretion is advised. You're listening to 3231 Nomad Radio. Nomad Radio. You ready to get this started? It is Wednesday night on this very windy March 30th, 2022. Hey, everybody. It's Matt. That's Ben.
Yeah, we're only 35 minutes late. We're good.
I know, right? This is, you're listening to and watching, hopefully, 3231. This is Nomad Radio. We had some not technical difficulties. We had act of God, really, happen. We had some, I guess it would be technical when if power is lost due to weather conditions. But, we had some power go out a little bit earlier, about 15 minutes before we were getting ready to start. So we were just kind of like hanging out here waiting for the power to get back on so we can jump back on here and hang out with y'all.
I was channeling Benjamin Franklin, trying to get that power coming back.
I know, you had a key and you had like a bed sheet on some sticks. You were looking to fly a kite, maybe?
Yeah.
It was weird.
That it affected about 1,000 other people, so I wasn't too worried about that.
And probably not done yet. Who knows how long we get to do the broadcast and before the power goes out again. We'll see. You never know. Yeah. At least it's not Florida. Florida was like so bad with that. All the rolling brownouts and stuff with like you get a hard rain or down there, it was like
the sand
typhoons and stuff.
The sand had a lot to do with it, that the trees really couldn't root themselves in extremely well. So any kind of big wind would take the trees down.
Yeah, not very hardy as far as the ground's concerned.
And geniuses decided to do above ground electric everywhere instead of burying, the utilities. So
I'm no He-Man took it. I'm no scientist, but
we are joined by Jamie in the chat. Hey, Jamie.
What's going on, sir?
I'm really glad you could join us. How do we sound, buddy? Do we look all right? I mean, does the video look all right? We're kind of...
There's only so much I can do. I mentioned on Haps that I'm like, sorry about how I look, but I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. I got an appointment. I'm going to actually get a haircut.
An appointment?
Yeah.
What?
I'm gonna
what kind of fanciness you talking about?
I'm going to get my haircut like the grown-ups do.
Okay.
Just because it's been a little bit, and I had forgotten about this one place here in Knoxville called Reds. It's near Clinton Highway. Down near, I forget the area, but there's a sound is perfect. Great, good to hear. I was driving along one time, and I just I'm gonna get a haircut. So I looked up barbers near me or whatever, and because I don't want to go to a hairstylist or salon or any of that.
No,
but
that Sports Clips right next to the Chinese place is pretty decent. That's where I
went there once. I didn't think I really. It didn't really feel.
An inch to my left, or how about I move the camera? How's that? You like that?
I ain't moving for nobody.
Yeah,
but anyways, traveling around on one of my days off, just nothing to do, and thought, let me go get a haircut. And so I just looked nearby in a place called Reds. I went in. There's this older woman there with the whole motif was like Southern hospitality, rednecky kind of vibe. Like it had stuff that her husband had killed and stuffed and put on walls.
Oh, nice.
Also, and a bunch of Andy Griffith stuff and Gunsmoke, and like they played that on TV. It's all they played on this little TV in the corner was all these old westerns. And
do you remember when you were younger, you go to the barbershop and there'd be Playboys?
No.
In the barbershop? No?
No.
Okay. Well, guess that was just the places that my dad took us, I guess. Well, that's kind of weird.
So I went to...
and they have beer? Did you ever go to a place like that?
Nope. I think that was a bar, Ben.
What kind of places where was I getting my hair cut as a kid? Jamie, did you ever go to any places that had porn mags?
And a bunch of whores.
No.
And a dartboard, and they play loud music all the time. And
I remember a long time ago.
Did you like get a haircut at a saloon, like an Old West saloon?
They had this thing where like you take a lock of your hair and like you put it into a machine and it would like give you a prize.
Really?
Yeah, maybe not.
Are you sure that was a barbershop?
I'll start talking about it in therapy and see what me and Alex can come up with.
Was there a guy in the corner playing jauntily on a piano, all upright?
With spit tunes. Yeah.
Can you tell somebody's been watching westerns? No, I was gonna say. So I stopped in this place, and it seemed like really old school. Oh, that's what I was saying. When I was young, had a place in Laconia, Frank's Barbershop, because of course Frank is gonna cut. You want Frank to cut your hair. You want Frank to cut your hair, and you want him to talk about the game, or talk about cars, or talk about how to mow your lawn. And, like Frank was a trusted member of the community, and I kind of missed that. Kind of old school. That was my
Sprite sponsorship.
That's not gonna happen. But this Red was this older woman, and she was she was kind of sassy, and pretty cool, and she was like very very hospitable, and I got a haircut with her, and I'm like, man, if I'm getting a haircut, I'm gonna come back here and get a haircut with her, because she just seems like she got her act together. She's pretty cool.
I think it's expensive to get your hair cut at places, but then I hear what women pay to get their hair done in colors and stuff, and I have to shut up at that point because it's not.
Are you vibrating? I think I heard you vibrate.
It says spam risk, so I'm not going to answer that.
Mr. Risk, can I call you spam? How are you, sir? So yeah, I'm gonna get my hairs cut.
But what are you gonna do? How's it gonna be any different? Oh, beard trimmer. That's definitely.
Well, like, I have one hairstyle when I cut my hair, because out of my van I plug in my clippers and I just buzz my head. But I'm gonna get the sides shaved. I'm gonna have someone hot towel in the soap in the foam and shave. Like with a straight razor, the sides of my head, do like a little high and tight kind of jobby. Keep that little patch up there. Although it doesn't look like this patch. I mean, maybe it's just the light, but it doesn't look like this is gonna last too long, anyways. Which I'm looking forward to. Man, I tell you what, there's some people that are very self-conscious about their hair. No, let it go. I'm done with it. I'm good. I want to go completely bald. Like if I could have an operation where they could come in and just take a laser and go and just remove all the follicles.
Pretty sure there was a Star Trek episode like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, really. I would do it. Any woman named Red is guaranteed to be sassy, right? Especially the older ladies, because she's like, full head of hair, and
Red don't take no shit.
No, she would run that saloon that you went to. She probably cut your hair. Speaking of that, let's take a minute. How was your week, by the way? How was everything going with you since we last did an episode?
Good. It was good.
All right, sweet. Thanks.
Trying to
check in with Ben.
Yeah, no. We had a great meetup with the Knoxville Permaculture Guild. That was last Saturday, and we did it at a place called Appalachian Grit, which is a regenerative design company here based out of Knoxville, and they'll do everything from backyard food forest to big commercial jobs. To he bid on a big job to do a coal mine restoration, which sounds really cool.
A coal mine restoration?
Yeah.
To restore it to what?
To something better than it is now.
Coal mining?
Yeah. So it's not probably doesn't look very pretty right now, but I saw some pictures of what he had planned to do, and it looked really cool. And they're going to be doing a lot of amazing things in the future as well. Appalachian Grit.
I'm assuming coal mining are tunnels, but it could very well be like a quarry type of a thing.
They do open pit stuff too.
Open pits, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they'll remove the whole top of a mountain to get, at the coal.
I heard, speaking of like the rejuvenating or renovating or whatever, that they're building a park for Knoxville. It's a big project.
Dog parks?
No, I mean like a large type of a planned.
I think I did hear something about that. Yeah. What they need to stop doing is they need to stop fucking building parks, and they need to connect all of the greenways and all of the trails. We have so many greenways in Knoxville, but not all of them connect well. You know, and that was one of the great things. You know, I'm originally from Cleveland, and Cleveland has an amazing park system called the Metro Parks, and that's one of the big things. Not they don't all connect, but a majority of them do connect. And it was just that was amazing as a kid that you could go to one park and you could go hike, or you could go ride your bike, and you could be 3 towns away, you know, and safely traverse that through the park system. And we have tons of that stuff here in Knoxville, but it doesn't all connect.
That's always nice to see when a city goes through the urban renewal and stuff, like Boston was going to do with that whole the Big Dig and all that stuff. And
$18 billion later, it's still not done.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk and his boring company did all sorts of tunnels in Las Vegas, and they're doing a whole like taxi, automated taxi service underground through these tunnels and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Some interesting stuff.
Yeah,
I've heard rumors that Cleveland rocks. This is true.
Yeah, Drew Carey told me
all that propaganda.
Cleveland is a very, very good live music city. I mean, it's not Austin, Texas by any means, but growing up there were lots of music venues, and it seemed like pretty much every bar also had music. So if you combine all the actual live music venues with all the bars, there was always live music happening. And then they had big places, you know, obviously like, you know, the Coliseum and the stadium, they'd have big giant shows. Pink Floyd played there, and, you know, after Roger Wood left.
Well, yeah, there's Cleveland is, you know, let's say what's the other one? Cleveland and Cincinnati. What I was thinking of, like those they have interesting music scenes. I've heard about with both of those. And which Hall of Fame is?
Cleveland has the Rock and Roll
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, which it's cool. I mean, it's definitely something to go to, but like I've heard a lot of people went to it and they're like, I wasn't impressed. You know, but it's all right. Something to go to. It's a memory that Nicole and I will always have, going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, then again, you know, something like a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would be more of a big deal if there weren't so many like Hard Rock cafes and that's what like little mini.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
the Planet Hollywoods and the Hard Rock cafes.
All the guitars and costumes and stuff. Yeah. And
plus, once you've lived down in Florida and you've seen like all the when they, you know, if they latch on to one thing, they make it a theme park, man. And you see a few of those, and you're kind of like, yeah. Although I mean, at least I am. There's some people that are, you know, will go to Disney and have that sense of wonder every time they go for the 50th time.
There's a lot of amusement parks in Florida. There's no question about it. And then when we moved up here, and then people were like, "Oh, well, you have to go to Dollywood," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cute. Go to Dollywood." And I'm like, I've been to all the parks in Florida. Yeah. But then I went to Dollywood, and I'm like, oh, wow, people were right. Like, this actually is, like, a really nice park. It's not as big as Disney or whatever, but the rides they did have are really good, and all the different food options that you have and little boutiques and all that. But we've gone back since COVID, and, like, you know, a third of the places were shut down. They didn't have a lot of staff, so they couldn't man all the areas, which that kind of sucked. But it's still a great park, and I definitely plan on going back. It's just a matter of when. I think when little Abby and Elizabeth come back up during the summer, I think we're gonna try to go back again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I still haven't been there yet, but like you've gone a couple times, but it's been during the summer, and I'm like,
yeah, we just went one time recently, and then before that, we had the season passes, and Abby and I went like a dozen times, through 13 times. It was crazy. But we would go, and we just go for a couple hours. You know, we go and we ride, you know, like 4 things, and then grab lunch, and then go home. You know, and we're not that far, so it's like a little over an hour away. So it's like it's far enough that like you feel like you're going somewhere. You know, like you get to play a tourist, even though it's like the next town over.
And I'm sure it's a different experience having a kid with a kid going there. That's
you live through their eyes.
Live through their eyes.
Yeah. Well, that's even like we went to Cedar Point, which Cedar Point is the best roller coaster park in the world. We went, and Danny went, my brother Danny, and Danny's a big guy. He's a big, you know, hulking powerlifter type guy. And he was already warned, Danny, you're not going to be able to get on any of the roller coasters. You're just too big. And that's exactly what happened. He was just too big. Anything that went over his head and had to close down, his chest is just so big, it couldn't get, you know, it couldn't close. but he enjoyed himself
I
because
feel
it was
that,
the
Danny.
girls.
Yeah.
It was the, Izzy was just big enough to actually go on like all the little kid rides, and Abby was old enough to go on almost all the roller coasters, even though we didn't go on too many of those.
Izzy's big enough to go on the regular roller coaster. Now.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, she's almost there. She's almost there. Yeah, she's still doing little kitty stuff. Yeah.
Not too long.
Nope.
Yeah, I kind of cringe at going to a place like Dollywood during the summer, like spending a day doing that. But then again, I'm doing one of the things. My 50th birthday is coming up. August 20th this year will be my 50th birthday. You only turn a half a century once. So, as it turns out, I found out that one of my favorite bands, one of my main influences as a performer, as an entertainer, Queensryche, will be performing in, I think it was Gatlinburg, on my birthday that Saturday, as part of a festival, the Monsters on the Mountain, and I've decided that now since I've gotten
anxiety be damned, you're going.
Since I've been forewarned, since I got the early news, I'm gonna start making plans, and I already wrote in my time on the calendar at work to get those days off, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I want a day to recover just in case. But to head up there and save up a little bit of money and have a little nugget set aside for VIP treatment. $500 for a VIP thing. It's for all 3 shows. It's for parking. It's for a whole bunch of stuff.
Wow.
I'm like, I've never spent more than $100 on a seat at a.
Are you going by yourself, or am I coming with you?
If you'd like to come along, you certainly.
I'm not
may,
paying
but,
for VIP
well,
for Queensryche.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I would like.
We could hang out in between or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I'd like folks to come with me, but like I said, I've never spent that sort of money before on a ticket, and I'm like, why don't I just give it a shot and do it and see what it's about? Like maybe I get backstage, maybe I can like actually meet the guys, or at least do a meet and greet sort of a thing.
Sure,
but
at this
I've never
point in
done
their
that.
career, they're probably still doing meet and greets.
Sure,
and meeting people and stuff. Yeah.
Sure,
they really did seem like a band that was really about their fans. It's not about selling albums. I mean, it's Queensryche.
Well, I saw Queensryche when they had their original lead singer Jeff Tate. I saw them down at House of Blues in Orlando, and actually my brother was nice enough to he was super tired, so he actually went back to the car and then went to sleep, but I wanted to meet Jeff Tate, and so I think the show finished up at 1:00, and then 1 turned to 1:30, then 2, then 2:30, then 3, and I'm like, oh man, they're probably not going to show up. But I was waiting, and suddenly Jeff and their drummer Scott came out, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm sorry to I know you guys probably just want to get back and get some sleep or whatever, but I just wanted to meet you real quick. I apologize. And they're like, no, that's great. How are you doing? I'm like, oh, fantastic, and I'm big, you're a big influence and blah blah blah. Talked to them a little bit. It was a nice conversation that we had, and took a picture with them and stuff. But they were really cool about it at 3 a.m. So I don't do that. I've never done that with any band really. The only other band that I've been backstage to kind of meet was Black Label Society, and then it was just one of their guitarists and the guitarist's dad. I didn't meet Zach, but I did meet. It was Children of Bodom and Black Label, and I can't remember who was there. I remember a wrestler, Frank Kazarian, was there. I remember Jeff Hardy, another wrestler, was there. I remember Bubba Ray Dudley was there as well. I think it went by Bully Ray at that point. But because it was at Universal, and that was where the wrestling promotion TNA was at the time. So I got to meet a few people, and it was nice and everything, but I've just never been a backstage kind of dude, and I wanted to be. Yeah. I figure at this point, I appreciate all that stuff so much that it would be nice to go on one of those cruises or one of those to meet those guys now. They're approachable now. Yeah. Rather than 30 years ago when it was
you were superstars.
Yeah, unless I was a hot.
And they didn't want to meet
chick.
you if you were a dude.
Yeah.
They're not even going to talk to you.
But old men wanting to tell stories and stuff and about their heyday and all that. I'm like that was something I wanted to do so bad. But
did you ever meet Steve Morse? Did you ever meet him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's another famous guy that you met.
Yeah. I didn't realize how famous he was
Yeah.
at the time.
Uh-huh.
Only because there's a lot of guys.
Because he was just Kevin's dad.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys
yeah.
that I knew they were in bands, but I didn't know their name.
Mm.
Like you hear about down in Florida, it was like Blackfoot and
Molly Hatchet.
yeah, and Skinnerd and
38 Special.
Yeah, a lot of those bands that you hear about, but I never looked into who was in the bands. And somebody like Steve Morse, I think he was in a few bands.
Oh yeah.
But and he's also a guitarist, and I'm not so much into guitarists. I gravitate towards
singers.
Singers,
stuff,
yeah. I mean, I say that, and there's
Steve Morse was in Deep Purple for people that didn't know. Like he's in Deep Purple now, or was when we met him. Yeah,
hopped around a few bands, but there are a few musicians like a Rudy Sarzo or a I just blanked out. There are a couple brothers. I can't. Vinny.
Vinny Badaducci?
No.
That guy?
Vinny Barbarino?
Yeah.
No, there are a few artists that have been in multiple bands, multiple incarnations of bands. I think Carmine Appice was his name or something. Like there's I can't remember off the top of my head of some of these guys, but I'll be just because I haven't accessed those names in a long time.
Yeah.
But
it'll come back to you at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
just laying there like, now I remember.
There in Florida, there was one guitarist that I knew, Joe Bonamassa. I knew him from his blues stuff, and I knew him from Black Country Communion, a super band that had Jason Bonham in it, and had Glenn Hughes and all that. Met him with Casey. Yeah, actually had a cool conversation with him. He's a hell of a guy. He's awesome.
One of the best guitar players.
Yeah, but like somebody you absolutely feel comfortable sitting down and just hanging out and talking to and shooting the shit.
Well, he's interesting too because like he's famous and he'll play big places, but most people have no idea who he is.
Yeah,
you could show me his picture right now, and I couldn't, you know what I mean, point it out in the lineup or anything.
Yeah,
but he's a very famous professional musician.
And a prodigy. I mean, he'd been doing it since he was in his teens and stuff. He was rubbing elbows with B.B. King and all that, and like he was a hot ticket when he was young, but he just grew into this awesome professional, and the suit and the shades and the hair slicked back and the whole like the showmanship and stuff, and his ability is incredible. But anyways, Queensryche has a new lead singer, and Todd Latour, and I think he's amazing as well. He's like the best of Jeff Tate and Bruce Dickinson all rolled into one, and he shot a lot of new life into the band. I think they're on like their third or fourth album now with him.
With the new guy.
And they've had some issues. They've had some problems in the past. But
hasn't Queensryche always had problems and stuff? Like,
well, I mean,
they're one of those bands that's been around forever in progressive metal music, and it's like,
yeah, they've had members leave and not want to be a part of it anymore. Like that was the first being, watching and listening to Queensryche for so long and keeping up with them and stuff. The first time that you really hear about the behind the scenes stuff, the business side of the music business, and they had issues. It's business decisions made by the drummer and made by everyone has a portion of a percentage of interest in investment in the band, in the company, and all the things like the subsidiaries thereof of the band, making it sound like a corporation, which it kind of is, but you have all the different divisions of
it's no different than in the Grateful Dead. Mickey Hart's dad managed a band for a period of time and like stole millions of dollars from the band, and that's got to be terrible. I mean, I've managed bands. I managed your band, and I mean, I didn't steal a cent. But like, these guys stole millions of dollars, from a very active touring band and stuff.
It's interesting to see that with the music business, any type of entertainment, how much business you don't really consider until like with me being in a band, we were nobodies, but there was still like a lot of things to consider. And
you were on step 2 of 10.
Yeah.
Like you guys got to play out as the Kings of Awesome. You got to play on actual stages in real music venues and at events where there were thousands of people. but you never got that, opening for X, Y, and Z.
The closest we got with Texas Hippie Coalition, but
Yeah, and they're kind of like a four,
yeah.
like
Well,
they're known too, but not big. I mean, they're not headlining festivals; they're playing at festivals.
yeah. They got their videos on MTV and they get they're out. They had Pantera's road equipment, which are the road cases and stuff like that. So it was like touching history, touching.
Cool.
It's like the Ark of the Covenant sitting there backstage at one of the shows, seeing Pantera spray painted on one of the road cases and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting to see what not well. It's interesting that more exists behind the scenes than you see in front of you, and the to be able to have that different perspective of sitting down and actually, or like shaking hands with somebody and being like, how's your day going and stuff. That's one of the things that motivates me when doing this. Is I'd love to get to a point where we can get some guests on here and we can actually do some interviews and stuff. As a matter of fact, I didn't unveil this to Ben yet. But I want to. We're live. Cameras are on us, Matt. Watch out.
Yeah.
No, but I wanted to show this off.
I'm wearing pants. Well, how about you?
Watch your monitor. Here,
Okay.
watch this. Here we go.
Good.
Boom.
Nice.
I made this.
Oh no, you showed this to me. Or did you finish it?
I finished it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all like we can have Zoom conversations here with folks. We can interview folks through Zoom. We can.
We talked about using Skype, if that's still a thing.
Well, I think. I mean, folks, you tell me if you're watching this, and you can leave a comment. By all means, please do so. What do you do teleconferencing at all? Do you use Zoom? Do you use Skype? Do you use some other form of conferencing? Because I know with COVID, a lot of folks were talking about Zoom, doing Zoom meetings and stuff.
I had Zoom classes that I had to take. Like the courses were all on Zoom. Yeah, it wasn't as awful as I thought it was going to be. But
so we have the ability to do so. Jamie, what do you think? If Jamie's still watching right now, appreciate you, Jamie, for hanging out with us.
He thinks we sound awesome.
But yeah, I love the look. I finally got it right. A little bit of with the radio thing in the background here.
Yeah.
This right here. By the way, anybody on YouTube, they do these all the time on their videos. Like and subscribe and get notified. And click the bell. Please do so.
Nice. Okay, Jamie says it's nice.
Please do so because I kind of don't like saying it just because I've heard it so many times it gets irritating. But they got to do that reminder. You got to remind people to click those buttons and
we're going to do a better job too of creating events to promote the show. So if you follow us on any of the social media, hopefully we can get an event reminder going so that you guys can join us live on the air. It's kind of a big deal. You can come and you can chat with us and you can talk with us.
Revive the Space Ghost form.
Yeah, right?
So there is.
You can do that.
I would love to do, one of the people that I'd love to reach out to see if they would actually do an interview is somebody that I watch on Twitch and on YouTube as well. Like on top of, we have a new world that we're entering in right now where we're actually going live onto YouTube and we're going to continue to do so. But there's Code Miko is this one Twitch and YouTuber kind of deal. She's a VTuber. She's a virtual. She's the technician, the person that operates Code Miko, is a programmer and a game designer, and she's very very talented. In
is she from Orlando?
No, she's I believe they're out in California.
Oh, okay, because there was a Miko like goth chick that I don't know.
So it takes about 3 minutes for something typed in chat to show up. So excuse my tardiness. No problem. No problem. There's certain things that we're learning how to do. So we, I tried to get it so that we can get the best latency, for the to reply to comments. But it's just all still a work in progress. But Code Miko is the avatar of this person, and she just
typed that. So Jamie, I don't know why you're having such a delay, but that was like not even 15 seconds. But okay.
But she's funny, and awkward, and like the her interviewing style. She's been building momentum and stuff like that. She like G4 has been rebooted, and she was on G4.
Oh, okay.
And she.
Are you glad that G4 came back?
Yeah, I'm not as into it as I was, but
there was nowhere near as much geek content available online when G4 was active.
It's nice that it exists, certainly, and you know, I root for him.
I heard a lot of the old shows came back. That's what I heard.
Yeah, Adam Sessler, who was on, was it Let's Play? What was that one?
I watched the Screensavers. That was the only one that I ever watched because they actually had like real like geek news, and like they would actually tell you like real stuff. Not just like the fake geek stuff, you know.
No, Adam Sessler, who was a host of one of the shows, like that for some reason escapes my memory at the moment. Kevin Pereira, who I think is hilarious. Attack of the Show. Was a big, like, I love that one as well.
That was a more comedy show, right? Wasn't that the one?
Oh, mix, yeah. Like it did a lot of memes.
And then is that the one where what's her name? Olivia Munn. Oh God, yeah, I had a crush on her for a long time. Yeah, she played Psylocke, right?
Yep.
She played Psylocke
in the X-Men. Yep.
Good for her.
Yep. But to see that come back, and a lot of it was through the efforts of Xavier Woods, wrestler from WWE.
Oh, okay.
Austin Creed. He huge into video games, huge in that nerd culture, and he was waving the flag big time to get them back.
We could get your favorite wrestler on as an interview.
Oh, get Danhausen on our show? I would love that.
I bet he would do it.
I would
love that. Even if it was just for a few minutes, you know?
Because
he's not so famous, he doesn't need more fans, you know?
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, he doesn't work constantly. He does a lot of...
It would be remote, you know, from Zoom or whatever. He'll be fine.
He does a lot of vlogging and toy hunting and stuff like that, and going to different shops and all that.
He doesn't wear all that makeup, does he, when he's out in public? No?
What do you mean, makeup? He has a little red around his eyes.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
That's
okay.
Yeah, he does test time typed 8:05. It's 8:06, 1 minute.
Thank you, Jamie.
The gentleman Donovan Danhausen doesn't wear the makeup all the time.
Okay,
but anytime he makes appearances,
I don't think Insane Clown Posse does either.
People want,
I was just making that joke.
But people want, I mean, I don't know. That's a great thing that we can have that we can talk to him about. Yeah. Like maybe we could have him on the screen and not show his face, or maybe maybe we can have him on.
There's a vibrant wrestling community in the Knoxville area, and it's just awesome.
I'm looking forward to
shows coming up, and the local wrestling guys, which we tried to go to and just didn't work out. They went from the Mexican restaurant in Maynardville to actually going downtown and shooting their show on the public access stage. So I think that's so cool to go from that level, just one level up. Public access. I think it's awesome that there's public access still in this day and age. I mean, like we had to make our own TV station, in our office, and they just walked up and,
That's cool.
Yeah.
All the power to them. That makes me want to, seeing what they're doing makes me want to meet them.
It's an interesting, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of it, so to me, it's new. But
you talked to me about going and meeting them at the Mexican restaurant.
Yes.
And I was kind of like, I don't really feel comfortable doing that. I was kind of, but getting into this now, like I am, and the potential for to meet people and to talk about this, it's gotten me kind of excited.
Because we can definitely add another person. There's no question. Our desk is big enough. We can. I mean, we could probably even add 2 more, but that's kind of pushing it. We're pretty large individuals, so.
But it would be nice to
we could
connect with them. It's just I haven't watched too much of their content because it's been a lot of there's a lot of lore going on that show, like a lot of promos and stuff like that. And I thought it was just going to be straight talking about wrestling news and even local wrestling and stuff like that. But no, they get their own characters.
They got their own stuff going on. That's why I thought it was interesting that's what they're doing. But that's the whole wrestling thing, though. With the
I didn't want to be one more old guy with
the
a beard.
fighting. It's not fighting because it's not really fighting. What are they doing? They're just like pretend fight. No, not pretend fighting. Like they have like beef with each other.
They have drama. It's a theatrics.
Jamie wants to see him fight at the
Mexican restaurant. Yeah, we go from Florida with a big wrestling scene to Tennessee with a big wrestling scene, or at least wrestling history.
Yeah,
certainly. And pro wrestling is something that, again, it's one of those things that the more you dig into it, the more you're like, wow, there's so much to this.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to introduce you to it, because you hadn't really been into that scene.
Not as an adult. No, definitely. When we went and saw the AEW show in Nashville, I thought that was very cool. And then to see the production side of it, where they basically took all the logos down and all the banners down and replaced them, because they were literally doing another show.
Yeah.
Same night, same wrestlers, but yeah, they're doing it like 3 different shows they did, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we want to do with Nomad Radio as
absolutely.
well. We were going to do this segment, and then, we plan on doing other segments as well, more directed, because Nomad Radio is really all the stuff that Matt and I are really passionate about, into the geeky and the nerdiness. And then we want to get a little bit more specific, dial it down, whether that's music or comics or superheroes or collectible card games. We're not really into that per se, but definitely, like, when it comes to collecting tabletop role-playing games, that's my vice. That's my
I always talk about that Venn diagram, that everything that we like is one step away from something somebody else likes. We may not be into war gaming, we may not be into miniature collecting or collectible card games and that sort of thing, but it's still fun. It's still an interesting discussion to have. Yeah. And like, I may not go to your permaculture meetings, but it's super fascinating, and there's stuff to learn about it, and interesting people that have other things in common. For example, there was a gentleman that you knew him from the guild. That gentleman that
I
But you connect with somebody on one interest, and then you come to find out that they have, other interests as well that kind of coincide with yours.
Which is great, because, he's an audio visual person as well, gear-wise and production stuff, and he's going to try to help us out with going to the events and filming them on his SLR and getting much better footage than we're getting with our camera.
Cool.
And then the audio too. So trying to help with that. And I'm like, hey, if that's what if you can help us out with that, that's great. Because, I'm usually pretty busy, and Nicole's been taking over the phone. And not that she's not doing a good job. It's the hardware. I mean, the phone, your phone can only stream. Yeah. And we're using Facebook Live, which might not be the best way, but we're trying to broadcast our meetups to our group, and we figured that's just the easiest way to do it. I mean,
I can understand you. I totally get that, having a vision, and the closer you get to that vision, the more excited you get about it, and the more that you see, okay, well, that needs to change. Oh, I didn't realize that. Like the as we're doing here, and the show after show, and meeting new people, and all every moment that we invest in this, it's only going to make us better. 5 steps from D&D to Kevin Bacon. Right. The meeting people, and sitting down with them and finding out what their experiences are and what they've learned, and then putting that into use. The permaculture stuff has a lot that can apply to it. Like, we're getting to the core of what 3231 is. It's on my side it's passion. Like the you have a vision and you want to pursue something, so and you're interested in the nerd part of it. And then we also have some of what's also mostly what you're about, which is the structure of it.
Yeah, the community structure.
Yeah,
of it.
Yeah. And like those two things combined, it's super interesting, super fascinating, and to have the conversation about all that stuff, and there's no wasted time. Us sitting down with somebody that has their experiences, and that could that we learn from them, and we're connecting with them and making them part of the community.
There's a whole list, man. It was a couple months ago, and I messaged just everybody I could think of that would be an interesting interview. Whether it were people that we'd known for years, or they were new people that I met here in Knoxville. And pretty much everybody except the famous people that I asked were like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Just let me know, And I'm like, okay. then my priorities got shifted, and
Life happens.
you weren't as on board to get things going. And then we lit fires under each other's assholes to get things done. And then within the last, how many weeks? It's only been
3, probably.
Yeah. So under a month, we went from nothing to what everybody's seeing right now, which is fantastic because like we figure we're kind of like 85% there. It's that other 15% that we just got to tweak. We might have to buy a little bit more equipment, but for all intents and purposes, you know, I don't have a mic screen or a wind screen on my mic. That's about the only thing that I could say like right now would be better.
You will, because
I
bought one.
And I'll have an actual better mic stand. I'll have an arm. I won't have an old-fashioned mic.
So there,
moving on up.
Most of the stuff, more than half of what we're about, we've had in our back pocket. We just never did anything with. We had the pieces, but we just never put them together.
Yeah.
And putting them together, a good 20% of it more now increased now. So like you were saying earlier, about 85% of what we're about is pretty much there already. It's the fine tuning. It's a lot of polish, a lot of
and then getting people in. That's the good thing too, because I mean, you know,
you can't do it without community.
Yeah, people will listen. Well, shit, people will listen to you for 5 years talking about what you want to do. So now we can do together, and we can bring guests in, and specifically a lot of those people, like the original Gangster crew from the Periscope days, and now Haps. You know, Matt has had a following, and it's grown, it's shrank, it's. You know, but still, there's 100-ish people that still listen and talk and chat. And,
I hope so.
You know, about that. I mean, there's a couple dozen that are really important that, you know, Matt actually talks to on a regular basis kind of thing. But we definitely want to include all of them.
And presenting something more than just my face on a phone.
Yeah.
Putting some effort into it, putting some work into it. And the thing that I'm looking forward to as well is all those people that we haven't met yet. Like if we show the effort that we're putting into it, I've heard absolutely no mic pops or overlevel sounds. Great.
Yeah, great. Jamie, we upgraded. We're no longer using my Yamaha mixer, which wasn't a bad mixer or anything.
It was a boat though.
But it was huge. Yeah, it took up the whole desk. And then we bought Behringer's really stepped up their game in the last couple of years. So we bought a Behringer interface. It's called the UMC 404 HD, which allows us to do 4 channels in and I think 4 channels out through whatever. Yeah.
In your experience, always decent mics, solid mics.
Yeah.
And
good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing okay. There's not a whole lot more we need. I mean, we could always spend more money on gear and get nicer gear. But if it doesn't make us sound much better, there's Tom. Hey, Tom.
Tom, what's going on? T-Square. Good to see you, buddy.
Studio's looking good. Thank you.
Nice setup. Hey, Tom, look at this. Watch this. This is my new toy. Oh, look at that. So nice.
I had an idea of like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 look, and we could do something with that as well. But that's going to be its own thing. We'll deal with that when we get to it.
I just didn't want to jump on anybody else's game, you know, like you said, the theater seats and stuff like that. I'll tell you what, Ben, you have access to the computer. If you want to draw that, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
If you want to draw that overlay. Very Shutter Island. Yeah, nice. So I want to take a moment because we don't have sponsors, but I do want to jump in every once in a while and say that we are on nearly every form of social media, every platform out there. You can see at the top of your screen, there's got Discord, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. And
for some reason, the MySpace ain't up there.
Yeah, that in the Prodigy, America Online, all that stuff.
CompuServe.
Yeah, we don't have that on there.
CompuLink's gone.
Every time that we joke about that, I think, man, I would really like to put a BBS up, though.
I know. Cool. I've talked about it, too. It's definitely something that I thought about doing.
And only you and I would be like, look at this.
I know. Oh, we're going to play Trade Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zork. Or no, Mud. That's what Trade Wars was the Mud.
Okay, so yes, kind of.
What do you guys suggest is the best place to watch and interact? YouTube?
YouTube,
we're going to be playing on YouTube Live. We're going to be YouTube Live is where we're broadcasting to every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Until we aren't.
Yep, and we have plans to not only do one of these shows, which this time is today is a little bit different because we had it like half an hour knocked out because the power went out, so our schedule is a little mixed up right now. But we want to do two shows, one Nomad Radio and maybe another, either two Nomads or a Nomad and another show.
Yeah, where we're a little bit more specific, whether it's supernatural going-ons or
like we could talk about permaculture. Like we had a show called Everyday Earth that we wanted to do. We have Alliance of Violence, which is our wrestling show. We get 10,000 Worlds. This is role-playing games. We get the different categories. Like I go through the list of sci-fi and role-playing games and TV and movies and music and all that stuff. Like we have these different categories, and we want to talk about that specifically and go in depth. But this Nomad Radio would be our general show. Nomad, wandering. We're wandering around the different topics and stuff that we have, and also our personal lives and looking at the community as well.
A lot.
Yeah, but that's the show. We
My AOL screen name.
We try to
Jamie.
We try to tighten it up a little bit, but that is what it ends up being. But my point is, any of those forms of social media you see at the top of your screen that you have, feel free to join us. If you looked up 3231 at the bottom of your screen there, you see it's 3231 3TWO3ONE. You look that up on most forms of social media, you will find us, and you are more than welcome to connect with us, to communicate. I haven't utilized a great deal of that, but I know that those are places that I frequent. YouTube a lot, Twitter not so much, Twitch certainly, TikTok something that's a new thing that I've been into.
And Jamie's going to be helping us out with the TikTok side of things.
Yeah,
that's great.
Oh, which brings me to my next thing. Step one, by all means, connect with us on social media. Step two, while you're here on YouTube, if you're watching this, please do what it says and like and subscribe to connect on YouTube so that you can be notified when we go live and you can be a part of the community. You can be part of the conversation. We love to make new friends and make sure that we have a solid connection with all of our old friends. But the second step would be, if there's something that you're interested in taking part in, not only do we want people to be a part of the community, but also to be a part of 3231 as like moderators and people like that, because
we're looking for co-system operators. Yeah.
The whole point of this is not just for Ben and I to sit here and have a conversation, but to be part of a community of people that want to contribute and that want to share their experiences and share their stories and provide help provide entertainment for each other.
Especially if you want to be a guest on the show too, please get in contact with us.
Absolutely,
we'd love to have you on. We really have no requirements other than. No, we really have no requirement.
No, it just
if you want to come on with us, it's fine.
Yeah, we just at the very least we want to meet people and connect with them, find out what they're passionate about, have a nice conversation with them. But yeah, no real expectations other than that. And if they're people that we end up finding ourselves friends with, like Jamie and Tom and so many others that have joined us, that like. Would you be interested in making sure when new people come in that that they behave themselves, that to provide have a couple people at the door that can help us out, take some tickets and punch some stamp some hands and that sort of thing. So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, like we see this going further, not just where we are, but hopefully a Patreon at some point, providing more content where we could say maybe we can put a $sign on this. Like if you like this, and you want to subscribe, you want to contribute more than just $1 in a tip jar. If we get ourselves to a point where we're providing the content that's a value to us, that has a value that's worthy of a couple bucks, then we can start a Patreon and then a Discord for just members. And like we want to expand this and make it available to everybody, but we want to reward the people that have stuck with us. So that was my point there. So absolutely, please join us on that. Let's see, we talked about what's going on this week. We talked about what some of the plans are that we have, some of the people that we've met. does that pretty much do it? Or
Yeah, pretty much.
normally at this
I
point,
mean, we have topics we could talk. We could talk about stuff. I mean, there's stuff in the news and like topical things.
getting towards the end of our show here, probably another like 5 minutes or so. I'll maybe even open it up to folks in the chat for any questions that they might have. We only have 2 people in the chat at the moment, but 3 including.
Well, that's
Ben.
what we could see, right? Or no? Do we really have the count though?
That's true. There could be lurkers. You never know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Are the YouTube saves of the lives going to be downloadable? We will keep them up for you to view. As far as downloadable, we are recording, so we will be able to we'll be able to save them. But
my thing says 4, so I don't know if that's really true.
For what?
4 people watching.
4 people watching.
Yeah.
The live broadcast that we're doing right now will be archived, so you
Mhm.
will be able to view them later on. As far as downloadable, I'm not sure. But this is stuff that we can all work on together. We can all learn together. I'm just glad we are where we are now. This is awesome. So, I think that's it. I think that's pretty much the show right there.
You want to stop already?
Oh yeah, let's take a little bit.
Like, sure, Ben. All you're doing is staring at your phone.
I'm excited for it. Glad you guys came back to do podcast. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done a couple different seasons of shows. I mean, we've done our whole thing on YouTube. We did a whole series of shows, and we had a whole bunch of really interesting guests on those shows. And then we found ourselves a producer, PJ and Friends, and that was a whole mess of shows that were very interesting. It was more, How do you even think that comparing those 2 seasons of shows? I mean,
the thing with PJ was very radio oriented, and he wanted a brand. He wanted some content for his brand. Yeah. Is what it was. So it wasn't our thing. It was us doing a show for him. And he
had a hard time understanding what 3231 was.
Yeah, it's just like we realized what we wanted to do, and we were shoehorning what we wanted to do into somebody else's product. So and leaving the rest to him to do. I think he wanted to get other people on board in other shows so that he could be the producer behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Whereas you and I are like, we kind of know all this stuff. Yeah, I remember the wrestling shows. I think it was you 2 and I guess PJ. The wrestling shows. You 2 and I guess PJ. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't think we did any wrestling shows with PJ. But you did do some broadcasts and stuff like that.
I did some stuff on my own, like on Twitch and everything, with my buddies John and Bridger.
That's probably what he's talking
about.
They would be great guests too.
Absolutely. That's the thing, is that we have so many friends that are so interesting and like they're entertaining as shit. Like they would be so much fun. Yeah. That was about the time when I was, after Pam had passed, and I was trying to find something to do, and I connected with these guys that's when I was working at in the cafeteria. I met a kid who was talking about his dad who ran a wrestling show, and so I met up with them and we talked a little bit, and they wanted to start a wrestling promotion in Ocala, and so we connected and we started to discuss it, and then I brought John and Bridger in because John and Bridger and I were talking about Alliance of Violence, about it would be a wrestling stable, but it would be like, we just thought playing 2K16 I think it was at the time, and building our wrestlers and doing shows and doing the play-by-plays, watching the action and stuff, letting the computer play it out. That would be fun and super entertaining, because it was for us. We watched pay-per-views and stuff, and we were just the wrestling nerds. That would be a lot of content, really fun to go into. But at the time we were just thinking podcasts and maybe go on Twitch. But here we had an opportunity where John and Bridger could actually wrestle, get into a ring and actually be a part of that.
That's way better than a podcast.
That was fun. That was fun. That was certainly something to learn about.
It was just in the memories today, the 3231 memories, and it was them 2 all in their wrestling garb. And
I thought you guys were all around a table doing a talk show. I get confused. No, No, I don't.
You did one with Dan King. I don't know. That was wrestling based.
Well, we did Nerd Life Kings,
Yeah.
where we were talking about
Have you talked to him recently?
Dan.
Yeah.
We're connected on Facebook. Like, say hey.
But you
every
actually
once
talk
in a
to him though?
while. No, not
Oh,
really.
okay.
Not
All right.
really. I'd love to though. He's
I always
pretty
liked
cool.
Dan. Dan was a cool guy. I wish I would have been more friends with him or more friendly towards him. He seemed like a really good guy, and he was a good dad, and you know what I mean. Loved role playing games and stuff like that.
And he hooked up with a good friend Loida, and she's amazing.
Oh, really?
You remember
okay.
Loida? She was one of the when you and
Wait
I
a
were
minute.
talking about the shed.
The spokesperson that we got?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird.
We met a few.
We were looking for a
folks.
female spokesperson
Yep.
that would give us a little bit more female sex appeal.
Well,
You know.
a different perspective, certainly. Like, we wanted somebody that was better to look at on camera than us by far. But
Well, we had a lot of ideas for different content, and it just made a lot more sense if we had an attractive individual interviewing people.
a little more diversity than.
Yeah, exactly. Two
couple
white
of-
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, we have an opinion of two white guys, so you know it was nice to have something else. I didn't know they got together. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so many of my worlds are converging because also Rick, one of the old bassists for the band,
Fantastic.
and
Who wrote Painkiller?
yes.
He wrote Painkiller.
Yes, he did.
You guys stopped playing that. Okay.
Nobody. There's like 0 people that remember. Maybe Jamie.
Jamie probably remembers.
But no, it's funny because I'm looking back at my life, and before I started getting into a band, I did karaoke. One of the first people I met was this girl Angela, who was the VJ, or the KJ, I should say, the karaoke jockey at a place called Charlie Horse. She was super nice and gorgeous, and she was looking to get into country music, and she actually had a management and stuff like that, and she was making moves in that direction in Ocala. And so like I've just found out like probably less than a month ago that Rick and Angela got together, so it's kind of like, oh, isn't that neat? two people that I knew that I didn't realize had the connection, made a connection. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Ocala is kind of a small town.
It is, though.
I mean, it isn't. It isn't. I mean,
it can
big.
Be. It has. It certainly is.
I think about
to
all
it.
the people that I met in Ocala, and like we'd run in the same circles, and I never saw them in public. And it's either are they avoiding me, or is this town really big enough that like you don't have to see people if you don't want to see people?
So I don't know because there's so many weird things. Dan doing good. I've talked to him lately.
Oh, good.
Oh, sweet.
Hey, David.
David, Mr. Star Trek on TikTok. Hello, sir. How are you? Ocala was interesting. Like I always saw that as being a sociology experiment because, like, with Charlie Horse and everything too, like that. I'll always have a warm place in my heart for Ocala because it has such character. Not necessarily good character, but it has flavor. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But
horsey sauce. It's got horsey.
I think you guys are doing great. Provide with us what I can. I've been
Thanks, Tom.
following Matt since early Periscope days. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's like 7 years ago. 2015.
Nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, for people that don't know what Periscope was, you want to give people a rundown of what Periscope was?
Well, Periscope, you can go look at Twitter Live.
Hello, Shifting Currents.
Shifting Current says hello. You're not appearing on the chat, so we got some adjustments to do here because the bottom of the screen. Yeah, it's like.
But it's right there. Okay.
There,
well, it'll move up next as soon as somebody comes and does it.
But I thought you guys were on Restream last week, but I think cost money doesn't. No. Here's the thing.
Yeah, break that down for everybody, man.
What we can do is we can multi-stream to a lot of different sources. If we are going to stream to a lot of different sources, we need them to be consistent. And the two places that we have that we can multiple stream is on Haps and on Restream.io. And it just turns out that there are some times, like on Haps, where I won't get the Facebook comments. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. There are some times where the lag is so different on one platform and not the others, and like I couldn't read Twitter comments, that sort of thing. So we kind of gave up on Haps, other than for me to use it on my phone.
Yeah, one-to-one
just
stuff.
To say,
when it's just you, it's fine.
Yeah,
but if we're trying to do OBS and try to communicate with everybody, it looks like it's just better for us to use one.
So
and pretty much everybody has a YouTube account. I mean, I don't know any weirdos that don't go on YouTube.
Restream is along the same way. Not if you have a phone, but certainly if you have a computer, Restream can do all the things that Haps kind of did, but we have more control over it. But even Restream is not perfect because there were some, like, I don't think we were getting Facebook and certainly not Twitter comments on that. So it's like, okay, well, why don't we do... And in doing my research and finding out about live streaming, a lot of people have recommended don't do multi-streaming. Find one and stick to one. Yeah. It's hard for me to do because Twitch is amazing and YouTube is amazing. And we could conceivably do both. Ocala has flavor you wouldn't want to put in your mouth, but it's flavor. Yeah. Like tobacco flavored or like kimchi flavored or...
wintergreen dip.
Yeah, like a blue cheese kind of... Yeah. So it definitely has flavor. But, and getting back to why we are on multiple platforms, it's just easier for us to focus on one or two.
What about Periscope, though? What was Periscope?
Periscope was great. Periscope was like, that was something...
Was it an app?
You could get on desktop. You could get on browser as well and do Periscope also. But it was an app that now is integrated as Twitter Live. So we could technically still be on Periscope, but just not, it doesn't have the accessibility that Periscope did. Yeah. And then so you're going towards, okay, well, if Periscope is Twitter Live, we could use Twitter Live. Well, why not Facebook Live? Well, you can't do Facebook Live because it's the people it's not necessarily getting new faces on you. Yeah. Why not Instagram Live? Well, I don't know how many people are going to jump on Instagram Live. And so we're focused, if we're going to do live streaming.
That's why the TikTok thing is great because there are so many people that use TikTok. I mean, a lot of people go live as well, but JB's going to help out with that.
Yeah.
So
if there's a way that we could get this, not the live stuff as much as the clips on there to generate some audience.
I see some big numbers of people doing live stuff, and not just the girls or the women or whatever. I see some really big numbers of just people talking, about cool stuff, and there's just so many people using that TikTok and the algorithm,
The only concern I have with that is the whole portrait versus landscape thing.
I know.
Like, how are we going to look? We'll certainly when we get access.
That's how we're gonna look.
When we get access, when we have TikTok, and then we're available to live stream on TikTok, get those followers. If we get up to 1,000 followers, then that will sort of unlock for us.
My own account is halfway there.
Your account?
Yeah, I know. I don't know why people are following me. I mean, you know what I had to do the other day? I went through my phone for almost an hour, and I went through and I deleted all the people whose accounts had been suspended. And I'm a friend, whatever.
Like the default logo and user, all the numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
so you would think if they disabled somebody's account that they would knock all their followers off. No, they don't. So, and I was like 10,000, had 10,000 followers or whatever. So I sat there and I knocked off like 1,000. So I actually can like people now and follow people now. So that's cool. Yeah.
Nice. Agreed. Hopefully you can get 1,000 followers on TikTok.
It's going to happen.
Hope to.
It's going to happen. There's no question about it. And if you have an account that has 1,000 followers, you want to let us use it, that's fine too.
There are avenues yet to travel. There are.
We haven't even tried to embrace Knoxville either.
We're just at the start of it, and especially now that we know what it's going to look like.
Yeah,
we know what it's going to sound like. Like that's we had this discussion the other day. Like, we're looking at 10 steps to success. We're discussing 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah,
we are at probably 3 or 4, and we've already accomplished 1 or 2, 3.
I remember this funny. This one pops up in my head. We were at your house. Well, you're in Pam's house, and we had Periscope.
Let's be honest. It was Pam's house. Everything was Pam's.
Yeah, and we're broadcasting on Periscope, and we have it run through your TV. Your big TV that you had, and we're just sitting on the couch, and we just invited people to come over. Anybody who knew us or knew where you lived, and Desiree comes over and hangs out with us. You know what I mean? Like that was so cool, and that you could just be like, all right, whoever knows where we live, just come on over.
Yeah,
and stuff.
That was neat.
Yeah, that was a good memory.
there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people that we haven't met yet, a lot of things that we haven't done yet, and like the hope in that really, and considering the type of life that I've had in the past few years, to be to go from there and as low as I was to where I am right now, I'm super grateful, and like it's something that I honestly feel the passion coming back in my heart for. Yeah. And the fact that we make it, it looks fantastic. I'm happy with the way that it looks.
I'm very happy. I mean, I'm pretty easily impressed though, but I mean, I've always been with your artwork. I've always liked it. So the fact that you actually put some real time into making it look this good and then setting the OBS up. Oh,
and for sure, I have an aesthetic.
Yeah. Abby trying to me too. Abby's like, oh my God, Daddy, how did you do all this? And I'm like, I didn't do any of this. I said, that's all Matt. She's like, can I do stuff? And I'm like, you got to talk to Matt. I'm like, I have no idea. Because you know what she's doing now? She's making her own movie in VR with her friends.
Nice.
Yeah. They're playing the parts in VR. That's amazing.
Shave my beard, but I respect the beard game. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. This isn't dirt. This is all I can do when it comes to a beard. And this is like how many months now? This is like
that's a lot for you.
I know, it's amazing the fact that I have any facial hair. But really, it's Nicole. Nicole does not like facial hair. She doesn't like mustache. She doesn't like anything. Well, no, she likes a beard on you, but she doesn't want anything on me. But I'm not allowed to shave my head either because I don't have an attractive head. So I have to still have hair.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Because how many times I just want to shave my head? There's no reason to have this Trump comb.
Oh, is that why the look on your face when I said just take it all off?
Let it go. Yeah. No, this is not allowed. No.
I have had a full head of hair. I got a receding hairline, but like I could grow my hair if I wanted to. And
Who's got the bigger forehead?
I've had several.
Mine's getting. Dude, look how look. Where's it? Look. It's up
yeah,
here now.
You get those
it's
things.
Going.
I don't have those things.
My dad, he that's how he lost his hair. It just kind of went. It's just up and up. But he still had hair when he died. But he only, he was only in the 60s. So that's not that. Fuck, dude, you're gonna be 50. So
yeah, my dad started to lose his hair about now. So I'm waiting for it to happen. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Like just let it go.
Isn't it? Don't you get that from your mom's side though? Anybody comment about that, Jamie?
What, the hairline?
Yeah, no.
Comes
you
from
get
your mom's side.
You get the hereditary. Pretty sure you get penis size from your dad. That'd be
certainly
really
hope
so. If you got it from your mom, Jim's your uncle.
Although I do have a penis like my mother.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just said that on television.
Well,
it's on YouTube.
If you've been watching since the beginning of the broadcast, Matt did say this is not an appropriate show for children.
Will contain topics and language unsuitable for younger listeners. Yeah, that is true.
No, I mean,
although really, this is the reason why I don't have kids, because if I had kids, they would listen to this. Mm-hmm. I would talk to my kids like that, and probably the reason why I don't have kids. Probably a good reason why I don't have kids, because I wouldn't. Although I have
kids.
You're zany with your kids.
Yeah. You got to be careful though, because like Abby's got a potty mouth now, and then Izzy.
Well, of course.
Of course, Abby has a potty mouth.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want your kids to have mouths on them, but like as long as their attitude is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want them to take any shit.
It's so funny because like Abby loves playing VR with her friends, and she'll just be in her room, and you'll hear her trash talking her friends, and it's like, oh, honey. Wow. You're so much like your dad. It's not even funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which was great during COVID and stuff when she couldn't actually play with any of her friends. She could play with them online. And she's done a really good job. She always had friends ever since she was little. And it was Jamie's daughter, Aurora, and then Elizabeth's Abby. And they called them the AAA. And man, did they play when they were little and they hung out and everything.
Natalie's the same way. I'm not allowed to shave my head.
But you do kind of shave. No, I mean shave your head. Yeah, no, you keep it short, but not shave your head. But but Abby's been friends with the same girls, and she plays with them, and she talks to them, and that's great that she does.
It's a different world, man.
Yeah, well, because I remember
blows the mind.
I had so many different friends growing up. From like one of my oldest friends.
But still neighborhood kids, though, right?
They were neighborhood for kids, exactly. Yeah, Ed Cena was
it's a virtual neighborhood now.
We had he lived the street over from me, and I remember we played as little kids, and then what third grade, third grade or whatever we met, or maybe even younger than that, and you have your little battles, and your little fights and stuff like that.
Feuds.
And yeah. Well, even up to a couple of years ago, like I unfriended him on Facebook because I don't know, sometimes I get I don't want to say manic because that's not the word. but definitely some form of depression where I'm like, fuck you guys. You know what I mean? I don't need to be friends with you, and I'll delete a whole bunch of people. And then like a year later, I'm adding them back. Like, I don't know why I did that. Well, now I found out that you don't unfriend people, just unfollow them. They can see what you're putting out, but you don't have to see what garbage they're spewing anymore. So that's definitely been handy. But I have definitely deleted a lot of people. I used to have a lot of contacts on Facebook, and they would just be, if I saw somebody that had 400 mutual friends, well, of course I'm going to add you as a friend because obviously you're into a lot of the same stuff that I'm into. And then COVID happened, and it was like, oh, okay, I see. And people would start saying things.
Oh, the divide, yeah.
And even some, people that I really cared about was spouting out insanity and really dumb comments online. And I addressed this one person, and I said, really? Like, that's really how you think? You're not just, copying a meme or whatever.
Trolling, yeah.
Yeah, you're not trolling. And then, she was like, no, absolutely. This is how I feel. And I'm like, okay, well, you and I, we can't be friends anymore. That's messed up, and you'd not be my friend because, I'm calling you an idiot. I'm like, no, my friends don't call me idiots. They don't
generally no.
Yeah, generally no. They don't do that. So, but that was really the only person that I think was an actual friend. Like, she was at our wedding, all those years ago. So, yeah. And then just everybody else doesn't tell me what they think. So we're fine.
It's a weird time that's been presented to us, like with in so many different ways. Like things have gotten so different due to politics, due to certainly the
mass psyops.
The pandemic certainly, and like it's been a shift in everybody's life.
Never in our life was a government agency able to tell you that you were not allowed to hang out with your friends in person. Like never. That's never happened to us. You could say, oh, the 19 whatever flu. The Great Flu, the Spanish flu. Okay, that, yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's before our time.
And a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Opportunities have been taken throughout the whole thing of people taking advantage of the moment.
Yeah.
To promote, their propaganda. They they instill their fear and put certain thoughts into people's minds, and it's just changed a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Which like you don't know what the word
damaged a lot of people. The amount of people who've killed themselves in the last 2 years is probably more than died from COVID, not with COVID, but from COVID. Like even my own mom, she was a pretty social person for 70 whatever 5-year-old she was. And then
a social butterfly, like churches and all the different organizations and stuff that she was involved with. Yeah.
But when they said you can't go out anymore, you can't go to church, or you can't go to your OA meeting, you can't go to she's a Franciscan, when you can't physically attend those things in person, and like that's your only social life that you have, that did a number on her.
And she's a big deal with that, because that's something
she
that
has to have it,
and not like she's not lived like she hasn't lived a small life.
No.
She's gone places.
She's
done things. Yeah.
Yeah. She's left the continent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Gone to Africa.
She's been to Africa. She's been to Europe. I don't know how much Asia she's been to, but no, my mom has. That's actually a guest that we talked about having Bonnie Amici on, and talk to her about what her life was, because it wasn't up until the last, just since I moved to Knoxville, that I finally started to realize that one of the reasons why I am the way I am is because my mom did not have a regular upbringing.
Atypical.
No.
For sure.
No. She did not. So, like, when you're a child and your mom...
You are Space Boy.
Yeah, I am Space Boy. That when you ask your mom, or your dad, hey, is this normal? And they're like, yes, this is normal. Absolutely, this is normal. And then I found out that no, hardly any of these things that I thought were normal were actually normal things. So that took some adjustment, and it definitely changes my perspective. And my perception is my reality. So there's all sorts of weird things about me that I can like trace back to, oh, well, it's because. But then you also don't want to blame your parents for everything, because, like, You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of bullshit. But you know, I've like lived with my mom one way or another.
Yep.
You know, like we live together now, but it's purely because she's at that age now where
You're caring for her.
yeah,
instead of her caring
exactly.
For you. Yeah.
Well, I kind of think I've been doing that since I was 13.
As soon as I said
it, and anybody who's ever met my mom can agree that she's quite the character with a big giant heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, she's got all sorts of stories, and I keep telling her you need to start writing this stuff down because like I can't remember all. I mean, I kind of remember the stories like when she tells them, but I can't like retell those stories.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know, Ben's grandfather was famed actor Don Amici.
Yeah.
From stage and screen and
radio.
radio.
Yeah, he was definitely. I used to say he was the original king of all media, not Howard Stern, because he did movies. He didn't really do a ton of television, but he's definitely, like he's in Golden Girls. He's he's one of the girls' dad. He did Love Boat. There were definitely TV shows that he did, but he was most known for being a movie star. And then thanks to it Ron Howard?
Name five. Trading Places.
Cocoon 1 and 2, Trading Places, Folks, and Things Change was another great one. His last movie was Karina with the great Whoopi Goldberg, or when she was great. But yeah, no, that was kind of sad because he died like right after, and like his character was going through Alzheimer's and stuff like that, and he was going through all that stuff too. So. Yeah, that wasn't fantastic, but yeah, no, that's definitely a part of my life, and that is something too where I'm glad you said it because I wasn't going to say it. Yeah, Don Amici from Cocoon, yeah. So, but yeah, so he had his early career, in the 40s and the 50s, and a lot of people don't realize where he went, and it was because he got. I don't want to say blackballed because when you say blackball, that has kind of negative connotations and like almost like the communist thing. But basically what he did was he wanted a per picture deal. And the movie studios at the time hired you, gave you a yearly salary and said, no.
You were under their umbrella as one of their employees.
Yep. You only do movies for us. You don't do movies for anybody else. And you're going to do as many movies as we tell you that you're going to do. That's not how it is anymore. Now they'll do like 3 picture deals and stuff like that. Well, they'll get $100 million or whatever. And
independent contractors as opposed to work in the studio system.
Yeah. So he didn't want that anymore.
Which is super fascinating. I would love to get into that as well.
So that basically ended his career. I mean, he was a leading man. I mean, he was the Brad Pitt of his day. And, all the other really famous people, got, kind of filled in that niche. But then in the 80s, when they were looking for, somebody to play the brothers in Trading Places, that he was mentioned that he would like to do that. He'd love to come back. And that's fantastic because when he did those movies, he did, Cocoon and Trading Places. He got paid obviously for them, but like when it comes to residuals, like he still gets paid for those movies. So like when it's streamed on Netflix or cable, whatever, there's money that's accumulated and it does, it does go to the family. So that's kind of cool, that he's still getting paid after all. That's kind of what we want to figure out how to do, right? Yeah. Like do this work now and get paid for it, years later.
That's all you want. All you want is to find something that you're good at that has value, and then get a couple bucks for it. But enough to pay the bills and a couple bucks in your pocket is what I always say.
Yeah, and he was really big on the radio too, so a lot of people know him. And his brother was really big in the radio as well. But he did the Bickersons. I don't know if you've ever listened to any Bickersons episodes.
Sounds familiar, but
it is so funny. And like we've even talked about doing Bickersons again.
Yeah, wasn't that for some reason? I want to say wasn't Bickersons. I want to say it was like kind of Honeymooners.
Kind of like that, yeah. It was kind of like the Honeymooners, yeah.
Faulty Towers kind of thing.
It was him and his wife, and they just had different acts and stuff like that. And he always had like a really like crazy snore and stuff like that. Like it was funny, and you can still get episodes on albums and stuff.
I believe he did a few episodes of Columbo.
I think so. I think so. He did Love Boat. He did, you know what I mean? He would appear. If people were paying and it was
Fantasy
decent.
Island,
stuff
Love
like
Boat,
that.
the guest appearances. That's another thing right there. Just talking about that, like the movie industry and the TV industry and that whole, there's a lot there to dig into for a topic. Dan, my brother, sent me a text message, and he's like, "Listen to this." And it was a YouTube link, and he's like, "You may think it's boring, but I thought it was fun." And I'm like, "Okay." So I just clicked on it, not knowing what it was. It was clipped music, no visuals, but clipped music from $6 Million Man. And so it like he just thought that was interesting. You couldn't see the show, but you could hear like the music in the background was super interesting for the time it was, and also the effects, like all of a sudden in the middle of the music you hear his eye stuff. So it's kind of like
there's a few more that I totally forgot about. Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, he was
Nicole. Hello.
Hey, Nicole. Yeah, he was the Bigfoot expert in Harry and the Hendersons. He was also in Coming to America. That was kind of a bit part at the end where Eddie Murphy throws some bums some money, and they're like, "We're back in business."
Yep.
And then Homeward Bound. He was the voice of the lab in Homeward Bound. That's where a lot of people that I met knew him from. Was there? Oh, that's the guy from Homeward Bound. And let's see. Oh, he was in Oscar. That was.
He did some animated. He did some animated films, didn't he? Didn't he do some voice work for animation?
No, there was talk that he was going to do that.
Man, talk about a voice to do that.
It was Vincent Price, I think, was the one that actually got the job, and it was like, was it A Nightmare Before Christmas or something like that? There was this misunderstanding that he was like a kind of a crotchety old man or whatever. And I don't think that was true. He never was to me, anyways. But like, he did really old films. In Old Chicago, Down in Argentina Way, was it Lillian Russell, Alexander's Ragtime Band, Heaven Can Wait, and he was Alexander Graham Bell. I mean, like, that was the big one, and they even that's funny. We'll end on this one. He was so famous as being Alexander Graham Bell that for a time they literally called the telephone the Amici. And if somebody called for you, and they'd be like, they want you on the Amici.
Yep.
That's so cool. I mean.
His name was mentioned in Godfather.
Yeah. He was in
2.
And what was it? There's a couple other TV shows. What was that one? Mad Men. He was mentioned in Mad Men, and it was like something about like him having a cane. Like, Don Amici has this cane. I have this cane, and it's cool now. And it's like, okay, But it's funny just watching TV shows, and then people will mention him. Like, he was mentioned on like a Simpsons episode. I mean, well, the Simpsons mention everything, but.
Tom says a Stallone movie, which wasn't too good. But
that one, it wasn't a very good movie. But I mean, really, how many Stallone films were good? Think about it that way.
And at the time,
over the top.
Well, no. Okay, now you're treading into sensitive territory here.
Yeah, and Chuck Norris never made a good movie.
Stallone was incredibly bankable, and they probably made some good money for that movie.
Sure.
And there's pre-Oscar and post-Oscar as far as
the great thing about Sylvester Stallone was he was a fantastic writer. A lot of people don't realize that, but like he wrote Rocky, like one of the best sports movies of all time, And then what did he write? Didn't he write Saturday Night Fever too? It wasn't John Travolta that wrote?
Like, could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been. But no, I think Tom was getting a little. Tom, are you getting the feeling like you're about to square up on the whole Stallone topic?
Dude, I saw a video of Chuck Norris the other day. Dude, he's like 82, and he was sparring with somebody, and like he was doing really good. Like, Chuck Norris could kick my ass at 82. Like, there's no question he's gonna kill me in a fight, and he's 82. But
me too. But that's because I'm a wuss.
Yeah. How many 80-year-olds can kick your ass? Probably a lot.
Any of them.
Any of them. Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought of that. I don't know. It was a while ago. That there's not a single Chuck Norris movie that I like. There's movies that he was in, but there's not a single one I like. No, not a single one. I don't. But as I've gotten older and my tastes have matured, I don't like mindless action films anymore.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Love most of his films. Oscar and Stop My Mom Will Shoot. Yeah,
that was a good one.
Stallone was bank.
Yeah. Throw a mama from the train. That's another good
I'll
one.
agree with you on the Chuck Norris subject. Steven Seagal as well. Not a lot. Not really.
Steven Seagal. The first 3 movies that he made, and then they're all the same movie. You know what I mean? Like, those were something else. Those were cool, and then it just got. Steven Seagal just kind of got ridiculous, and then he got fat.
Yeah.
Have you seen any clips from like the later movies that he's done? Yeah. And he's just like phoning it in. Speaking of phoning in, Bruce Willis. You know how many movies Bruce Willis has been in the last like 3 years? 70.
A lot.
He's
Yeah.
been in 70 films, and they're all terrible.
All straight to video. All not even straight to video.
Not
straight
even
to
straight
streaming.
to video, dude. It's streaming movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I read an article on like, because they brought it up too, like how does Bruce Willis do all these movies? Supposedly he does like it's in his contract. He's only going to be there for so many hours. So like they better get it right when he's there, and then he's gone. Like he collects his money and then he's out of there. Because you think about some
Sounds
of these
like a
rich
sweet
people.
deal.
Yeah, sure. But it's like, the lives that they have made for themselves require a lot of money. What little residuals
the
the
lifestyle
Donamici gets
requires
is nothing comparative to like Tom Cruise.
They just said he can't act anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Um.
It doesn't want to act anymore.
Well, I was gonna say the same could be said for Liam Neeson, because that one movie that I went and saw in the theaters, I'm like, oh,
you walked out, didn't you?
I did. I did. Like
Yeah.
it was a little like I'm
Was it just
I'm
a stupid
surprised.
action film?
I'm surprised it had a theatrical release. That seemed like one of those straight to video or
Yeah.
straight to
Straight to streaming.
They don't do straight to video. It's not straight to video. It's straight to streaming. Yeah.
No. It's just the streaming stuff now.
Announced today he has some brain issue, which
Yeah.
is affecting his speech. Who? Bruce Willis?
Yeah, Bruce Willis. Yeah, that's what
Really?
made me think of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Craziness, right? But he's done so much. I mean, Bruce Willis's body of work.
His contribution is solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sci-fi stuff. I mean, Fifth Element is one of my favorite movies of all time. And, he was absolutely fantastic in that. And the first couple Die Hards were good action films, but like
I will
just
support.
can't.
I will defend Hudson Hawk till my dying day. It was for what it was.
They made a Nintendo game based out that movie.
It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
There are a few movies that like I am in a very slender minority as far as Taken was a great movie. Liam Neeson, never seen the second one though.
The first
if
Taken
you've seen
was
the
all right,
if you've seen
yeah.
the first one, you've seen the
them
second
all.
one.
Yeah, well, you've seen basically every movie there's ever been in. You could say too that Jason, is it Stamos? Jason
Statham.
Statham.
That's right, Jason Statham.
Yeah. Well, he was amazing
And some
in
rope.
Snatch. Did you ever see Snatch?
Yep.
Amazing. And then everything else.
Transporter. He was awesome in that.
The first
That was
one.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he
Fantastic.
just plays the same character over and over and over again, and then I just don't dig it.
Agree to disagree because
Which one was different?
what was it called?
We can agree, but
It was
not the Transporter 4.
no. Give me a second. I'll
Okay.
pull it up.
Expendables, maybe.
Well,
the Expendables were the epitome of I'm not going to watch this movie because you literally got every action star in.
to be fair, if you're Jason Statham
Mhm.
and you're cool as hell, that's all you got to do for a living is just be cool as hell. So he
sort of like The Rock, because
more
The Rock
so than
plays
The
the
Rock,
same
although,
the
yeah.
same character.
Well, no, because The Rock plays silly, and I don't think Jason Statham has played silly.
Wrath of Man.
I haven't seen that one yet. I see it on my
Children of Men was one of my favorites.
Amazon Prime a
Yeah.
lot, but give me just a moment here.
Mhm.
Movies. There is a series that he definitely does take an interesting turn on. Crank.
Crank. Okay, all right. I agree with you that was one of his better films.
That was him
Yes.
being as probably as silly as he's
Okay.
ever been.
So David wants us to know what our opinions are of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Saw the first one. That was about it. I heard about the rest of them, and I think that it's taken some time, but they're getting they've certainly found their place. Like
They found their niche.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it starts out being just a regular, the underground, car racing, couple good scenes, some explosions kind of thing, and the whole undercover cop type job, but it's turned into like the heist impossible
Special forces, dude.
Yeah,
They're special forces now.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone from like you almost want to redo it from an RPG aspect because they start out as level 1, level 2 characters, probably a little more than that, maybe 5.
Yeah.
But when you get to those epic levels, when you get to the 18s and 19s and level 20s and stuff, that is world breaking stuff that
Yeah.
you're doing. So they advanced the story, they advanced the worlds into like Cars in Space. Come on now. That sort of thing. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I've never seen a single one.
Yeah,
never seen a single one. I don't care about movies about car chases and stuff. Vin Diesel. So, yeah, I like Vin Diesel, but I like Vin Diesel from Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick, and Groot.
Yep, and Groot. Yep.
And the fact that he plays Dungeons and Dragons and he tells people he does, and so he's completely, open about that.
He's had like Vin Diesel's had one or two roles that's been like, all right, nice.
Yeah.
Like there was one where he played like a mob guy or something. He had hair, and I can't remember the name of the movie, but there was one movie that was like he played an interesting character
in a world where Vin Diesel has hair.
No, there was one movie that he was in that was like he played a character. He had a particular voice and a particular personality.
It wasn't Triple X, right? I did see Triple X in the theater, and it was okay, but I don't know.
It wasn't typical. It wasn't a typical.
No, it was different.
Yeah.
Chronicles was an excellent movie. Yeah, and from my understanding, they are doing another Riddick movie with him. It's a very cool setting. And I'm a sucker for any sci-fi.
And Pitch Black was the first one?
Pitch Black, yeah. Pitch Black was good. But I'm a sucker for any sci-fi. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll sit down and watch. Unless it's like extremely low budget.
Find Me Guilty was the name of the movie with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, no, I never saw that one.
But, and of course, Iron Giant, his voiced role in Iron Giant. He played the Iron Giant.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Or maybe I knew that.
But
that's a great movie, by the way.
Certainly one of his best roles, The Pacifier, where he played the Special Forces nanny kind of thing. No,
there's just something.
I'm joking.
There's something about that where the action guys start playing those stupid roles, and like John Cena started doing that, and I never liked him to begin with, but then when he did Peacemaker, I fell in love. I definitely have a man crush on John Cena now. But when he's doing action/comedy stuff, not like I'm not ever going to take John Cena seriously. But I think he never was a serious guy, right?
There was one movie that he did recently that was like I've heard good things about, but loving this topic tonight.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, we're all over the place, so we're glad we could hit the marks that time.
Yeah, well, you guys are feeding us lines, so that's cool.
John Cena movies. I'm looking that up real quick. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah. The
Vacation with Friends.
That was really funny. Nicole and
you were the one that told me, as a matter of fact, now that I remember it. You're like,
shocked how funny that movie was, because it looked dumb from the previews, and you're like, oh, I bet the best parts are in the preview, and then you watch it and you're like, wow, that was really funny.
He's done some movies. The Marine was a good movie that John Cena was in. Yeah. It was all right. Yeah. But he's done some 12 Rounds was all right. That was a decent one. There'd been a couple that he was in that were pretty good. But for the most part, like it was just. I think he was a WWE product, and he was playing like the family friendly type. And that's not his forte.
Yeah.
When with a lot of actors, when they're trying to play it safe, when they're trying to play, they're trying to be commercially.
Was he like a firefighter in one movie?
Yeah, playing with fire.
Like, no, that's
but
okay.
and that was like he was shirtless a lot in that, and it's like kind of weird for kids.
What's the other guy? What's the other wrestler guy that was in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Batista. Dave Batista.
He's another one, man, where I didn't really give a shit about him when he was a wrestler, and then boy. Wow.
Some of the roles,
Holy shit.
Who
knew that guy could actually act and like do a good job? He was in Blade Runner and
Dave Batista movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
hasn't been in a ton of stuff, but
Dune, Army of the Dead, really good in that. The Blade Runner movie, very good in that. Escape Plan, not so much. Guardians, of course.
He's going to be in movies for a long time, though. I mean, because he's not that old. And he's in pretty good physical shape. Obviously, he's all ripped and stuff.
Yep. No, that's his.
Did you hear that after the next Guardian of the Galaxy that they're done? That they're doing the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and they're not. Those characters are not coming into the MCU.
That's fine. They've been around for a while. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, well, fuck Spider-Man then. Let's not have any more Spider-Man. Because Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. We can't do better. No more Spider-Man.
No, disagree. I think. Well, okay, as like Peter Parker.
Of course, you disagree.
Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I would be willing to agree. No,
Yeah.
you don't need to do any more with Tom Holland on that. Although it would be kind of cool to have him come in. You need to do Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah. I've been hearing more and more people talking about that.
Because there's so much that you can do there. Oh, talking about Batista though, Bushwick was the movie I was trying to think of where he plays kind of a pretty serious role.
Okay.
I
think I remember hearing about it. I never saw it though.
He played he played one of the baddies in the latest James Bond movie. I think he was Inspector, and I think he was in the last one. I can't remember.
Tobey Maguire was my favorite Spider-Man before Tom Holland.
Tobey did a good job because I'm blanking on the name, the director, Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi made a good Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And so Tobey was good as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But Tom Holland didn't exist yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like making him a kid from Queens, making him Tom did the best.
Yeah.
Like the best Spider-Man for me.
Yeah.
The Andrew Garfield brought a lot to the humor and stuff, but like he was too good looking, kind of thing.
Well, how many movies did he even do? Just one?
2, I think.
He did 2. So I didn't even watch those.
He did the first one.
I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, to be perfectly honest. I read issues of it back when I was a little kid, and I always waited for them to be able to do like a good Spider-Man movie, and like they finally did it all these years later. But again, whatever. I mean, I was never a big Avengers fan either until the movies came out, and then I realized I'm still not a big Avengers fan. But you know what I was a much bigger fan of was the X-Men and Fox's, attempt to make decent X-Men movies. And, quite a few of them are stinkers. Logan was great, and I can't wait to see what, Marvel actually does with, or Disney, I'm sorry, because Disney owns everything. Right?
X-Men, the Fox X-Men movies did what they were supposed to do, which was open the door for more movies. Like the simple fact that they took X-Men and they took it seriously. I think Neil Patrick Harris voiced him. Still makes me laugh. Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much. I mean, I grew up on the animated show on Fox cartoon.
That was hard to beat.
It was great. It was great because they just took the comics and like, let's make TV show. Let's make, actual episodic stuff with them. And my brother Doug was always really into comics. So I could always read, his old issues. But like if he wasn't into them, I never got into them. And then what was those ones that they did like the encyclopedias of all the different superheroes? You know what I'm talking about? Where it has like
issues, like who's who in the omnibuses type thing.
Yeah. So that was how I learned about a lot of the characters and stuff like that. If I didn't read actual comics or whatever, and this was back before the internet was, a real thing. So
Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, professional Magneto. Yeah, the part that introduced young Magneto in the scene at the camp
that was cool.
Was like I was saying, maybe they didn't get the whole movie right. Maybe they didn't get the whole franchise right, but they did a couple scenes right.
Yeah.
And that's the important part. They took a couple shots. They did a couple scenes that were necessary in order to get us to the point now where like 2 times a year these movies are popping out, these amazing well, now we got like 5 and Disney Plus and all that stuff where like the Hawkeye's coming out and WandaVision's coming out and then Doctor Strange and all these like the movies are at a place right now because of movies like X-Men that didn't hit the mark all the time, but they hit the mark once or twice. So it's like, whoa. Yeah. Like that the Magneto one with the concentration camp, that was like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And then the animated series is supposed to be they're bringing that back as well.
Yep.
And that's amazing that they're going to be able to do that. And because it's so true to the comics, I think it makes a lot of people happy. And then I remember too, like, since I have been like a nerd forever, I remember when the X-Men movies had just come out. And I talked to my other nerdy buddies who were more into comics. Hey, Chris. And I'm like, whoa, where's all this from? Like, I don't remember any of this stuff. And they're like, oh, well, it's based off of Ultimate X-Men. Did you read Ultimate X-Men? I'm like, no, I didn't. What is Ultimate X-Men? They're like, oh, it's a whole other storyline. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, why did they base the movies off of the other fucking was it the Uncanny X-Men or, well, you know what I mean? There's a couple different X-Men series, but like those to me, that's X-Men. And that's what the cartoons were based off of. And what a majority of the comics that I had read were. But then, I don't know, they just maybe Ultimate X-Men was easier to adapt because the outfits were black or some shit. I don't know. You know, they're more modern.
They got to the point where they were inconsistent because you'd have these multiple X-Men titles, and then you'd have other. You've had like maybe 4 or 5 issues from another artist or another writer where you get like an extreme, like a Joss Whedon doing an X-Men run for a little bit, and then you get like a you'd get extreme X-Men, and then you'd get the
giant-sized X-Men.
Well, they'd pull. It got to a point in the 2000s and the 2010s where they would just grab Cyclops and 4 other X-Men.
Hi, Jenna.
Jenna. Yeah, they would get Beast and Cyclops and 4 other guys and Wolverine to do something for a limited run. To try to be edgy and dark and change their outfits and change everything.
Staying on superheroes, but did you ever watch the TV show Heroes?
I watched the first season.
Good. Just pretend like it ended after the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it continued and they shouldn't. There was a writer's strike.
Yes, I was going to say like that was a television thing, not necessarily a Heroes thing.
Yeah.
Where they just like the Hollywood was weird.
It was a really cool concept though. The Heroes show was very cool. The cheerleader, I always had a big crush on her. I always thought.
Did that happen before or after Lost?
I don't remember.
But it was about that same time where it's like some good television.
Yeah.
They get like J.J. Abrams.
I have never watched more than the intro to Lost.
But I'm just saying that type of television where it's like introducing some weird things like Fringe happening.
Yeah.
Fringe is probably one of my favorite TV series.
And I bought it for you on DVD for a birthday or Christmas or something.
Yep.
But Fringe is great. Fringe and X-Files and stuff like that. And any of like the Strange Tales, the Twilight Zone, the Outer Limits, you know, any time that you can have an adventure or a story in a setting that's like, what's going on? You know, like that's cool to me. You know,
well, now what they're doing like Black Mirror and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Black Mirror couldn't have existed if it wasn't for Fringe and it wasn't for Twilight Zone or any of those shows.
But Heroes was a pretty good cool. Again, some good moments.
Yeah. They tried to relaunch it too, and it just I think I watched a couple episodes, and people agreed. They said it was just garbage.
Yep, but it was good for what it was at the time.
Now there's another one that's really good. That's like more obscure. Was Painkiller Jane. It was on Sci-Fi way back in the day.
There are a few. We talked about this before. Ben, get off this chat and go watch the Lost. Ready, set, go.
All right. If you come over, Tom, we'll watch it together.
Jenna says, "Yay for power." Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
We lost a good half hour on that. No, I was gonna say there are a lot of shows, and thank goodness for it that they're hit or miss. But we were talking about that the other day. The Dark Matter and Killjoys, and that sort of thing. Like Dark Matter was one of the ones that I really liked. I thought that was really cool. That they take some chances and they hit it, and like it's too bad that they didn't take. That they didn't, take, or they didn't have more opportunity. They didn't continue, but
well, it's funny when it's Sci-Fi and like a Canadian broadcasting company are putting the show together. So, and like nowadays with streaming and like, who the hell watches TV live? You know what I mean? Like if you're going to use that as the metric, if you should keep a show going, like that's not, you know what I mean? Like that's not, you can't do that anymore, So it's, like when Netflix has shows, that was one of the things that people were really happy with was Netflix would give these shows a couple seasons to work their way out. And then now Netflix is canceling shit after a year, or one season. If people aren't watching it, they're done,
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Amazon is starting to pick up some interesting stuff too. So
the new Moon Knight series came out today on Disney+.
Did it?
Well, that's good.
Oh, guess what I'm doing tonight?
I didn't know Moon Knight was Jewish. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. They're like, he's the Jewish superhero. I'm like, okay, way to bring religion into this, but okay.
No, I never heard that.
I mean,
does that matter?
I know he's mentally ill,
Does that matter, though?
No.
Do we need to?
I love the actor that what's his name that's playing Moon Knight?
Oh,
He's great.
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. He's great.
He's dreamy.
Yeah, he was in a card counting movie that
Yes.
I watched. It was like surprisingly good.
Was it? I hadn't
Yeah.
seen that yet, but
No,
yeah.
it's definitely worth watching.
That's The Counter is what
I
I
think
think
so.
it's
I
called.
think so.
Yeah, he's good, and of course playing in Star Wars and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
the role in Star Wars. Yeah, yeah. For like to think about what life was like in the '80s, with it's having your comics and having your movies and not
Yeah.
seeing them together, to where we are now. Like so many things have been done. It's good reason Star Wars. Yeah, and I think he's isn't he gonna be? Aren't they doing No, that's the wrong one I'm thinking of. It's Cassian, I think, is the one that they're doing for the new.
Andor. They just
Yeah.
filmed us wrapping that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a prequel one. I'm super happy with the Star Wars shows, the Marvel shows.
Poe was his name in Star
Yeah.
Wars. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with everything that I'm seeing. Like it took me a little. WandaVision took me a little while to like get back into and then watch that. That was like I was really thrown off with the sitcom thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like what? Huh?
Yeah, and that's the thing is because it's so different. Like it was
Yeah.
taking such a different approach that, and I don't think like you're talking episodic television.
Mhm.
People weren't like it was telling a certain story that people weren't ready for that kind of story.
Yeah.
Everyone's used to things, and that's how. Unfortunately, that's how it's been. Is
Yeah.
you're fed.
I also think
you're fed shows a
They
certain
could have
way.
shrunk it down to like 4 episodes. They could have cut a lot out and still made it a really good show. But
Well, that's personal taste. I mean,
Oh,
I could have
speaking of personal taste, the Eternals movie.
trash as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
Yeah, it wasn't very
no,
good.
I wouldn't say trash. It wasn't the best Disney movie. When you consider all the Disney movies are above
Uh-huh.
everything else, pretty much like
Yeah.
the
We got a question about Rise of the Skywalker from 1 to 10. 10 being the best,
Rise of
right?
Skywalker being that was Rise of Skywalker was the last one, right? Excuse me. Here come the cough.
I enjoyed them all because they were Star Wars movies, but if I could have a machine and that could delete things from existence, there would only be Rogue One, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and Mandalorian. that would be it. I did not enjoy the prequels. I enjoyed going to see the other movies, the new trilogy, but
I hate this part. I apologize. My my
well,
medication.
that's why we
gives me
place limits. We place limits.
Yeah.
Why don't you even drinking water's not helping?
I'm out of water.
Oh, you here? I have a Sprite.
Do you?
You want a Sprite?
Please. Something to drink.
He's dying over here, guys.
No, it's just I get this little tickle in my throat with
I
medication.
hear you. There we go.
I don't know people on.
Oh, my head got really large there for a minute. I'm sorry, guys.
We're moving around here.
James Gunn is great. I don't think
Yeah, we just heard about
Yeah,
that.
we
Today.
heard-
I just heard about that today.
he's stepping away. Well, personally, I think he died years ago, and they're just using clones. But that's that. We're gonna keep that for a conspiracy show.
No, was that the one he did? Surrogates.
That was good.
That's Bruce Willis now.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis actually passed away during that movie, and so they're just using surrogates of Bruce Willis now for all of his movies.
Sure. Yeah, I'll CG.
No, I was gonna say with Star Wars and with Eternals on both those topics, Marvel's pumping out some great stuff. They're not all gonna be 10s.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think there might be like maybe 1 or 2 9s. I don't know if a 10 in the movies that they've made. A lot of them are a lot of them are 6s or 7s.
Guardians of the Galaxy is really good.
Yeah, well, that is true. So,
Yeah,
but everybody
not a
has their
10.
taste. Everybody has their taste in what they like. But I would say, they're never going to have any 1s or 3s. They're not going to have any super like disgusting bad ones. The bottom of the barrel for Marvel is still pretty darn good.
Yeah, like Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals isn't the worst Marvel movie. Like, if I were to think of
No, it's
something
definitely
worse
not the
than, or
worst.
the worst Marvel product, you got
Can we count Ghost Rider?
no, because that's not MCU.
That's true. That's true. Not yet.
But like, if you're talking about at the very bottom of what Marvel has done with Disney, You got, I would say, Iron Fist is at the bottom,
Oh yeah.
and Inhumans as well.
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
But there was like the stories could have been better. They just made bad choices with them. In Humans, they is a like a very special effects laden, and they couldn't use the special effects because they didn't have the budget to do so. You have a character who's all about her hair, and then you shave her head. Not great.
Yeah.
You have a guy whose power is that when he speaks, he can cause mass destruction, and then you have him do sign language the whole time. It's like it was like it's a good idea, but a bad execution. Have you ever seen Dark Phoenix? Not great by far. No,
That was X-Men film though, right?
that was Fox still. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Fox. To be perfectly honest, I don't. I mean, the critiques people had of the X-Men movies were from the very beginning, and they just never. I mean, Logan's really the only one that I feel that they really nailed.
Yeah.
That, and I mean, the ones where they went back and everybody was younger were pretty good too. But
First Class,
yeah.
those were all right.
But again, comparing them to the MCU though. Like, are they even any of these movies other than Logan? I can't think of anyone.
I'm very interested to see what they do with it because they gotta pull that trigger. The Fantastic Four is next, and then X-Men.
Oh God, Fantastic Four.
I mean, they're already introducing not for any spoilers or whatever, but Illuminati is already like.
Tom's watching Doctor Strange for the first time. Oh,
nice.
Wow, dude. Yeah, Doctor Strange is great. I can't wait for the next one.
But
they got a really good I mean, the actor. For Doctor Strange, I mean, they really nailed that.
Oh yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, getting back to like the Star Wars, the last 3 movies, the first one was all right. The second one I really dug. Was it Last Jedi or something like that, or what? And then
Force Awakens, The Last Jedi,
Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Rise of Skywalker, I didn't like because they were apologizing and backtreading for everything that the Last Jedi did.
Yeah.
Like, I loved Last Jedi because that Rian Johnson was saying, yeah, you know what, everything that you knew about Star Wars, forget about it. And then so he's like kind of an FU, but not literally, but kind of an FU. I like the original Fantastic Four movies.
All right.
There were parts, not the whole thing, but parts.
Did you ever hear about the Fantastic Four movie that they made they never released?
Back in the day, the old one?
Ooh, they never released it. It was a Roger Corman.
Yeah, Roger Corman. Yeah.
You can see clips of it. You can't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
They made it just so they could keep the license.
They keep the license, yeah.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
But yeah, I thought that the Rise of Skywalker was like erasing what there was too much behind the scenes on screen. There's too much meta. Going on the screen, where it's like, remember that thing that happened in the last movie? Well, that didn't happen, and that was we're trying to explain and backtrack.
I could just pretend it didn't exist.
So I wasn't a big fan of Rise of Skywalker, but then again, and I've heard it said this before, and I'm like, what a great point. It wasn't made for me.
Yeah, exactly. It was made for kids, little kids.
The same thing with the prequels. Last Jedi was cool, especially Luke was on the planet. He was fighting Kylo. Like the fact of Luke getting the lightsaber and then tossing it, like that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like the idea of Rey being nobody, fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm like that. What how refreshing that somebody could take
she wasn't
that.
Nobody.
No, she was
Palpatine.
She was a Palpatine.
Yeah, she's a Palpatine.
Ooh.
Whatever, dude. Fucking come up with new characters. I don't get this shit. But I mean, I guess it's the final of the Skywalkers or whatever. But the thing that really upset me was when George Lucas sold the rights to Disney, and then Disney said, "Hey, this whole expanded universe that you guys have been enjoying and reading and playing in, if you play the video games or the role playing games, it's all gone. It's all gone. It's not canon anymore. None of this shit is. Only if we say it is." That kind of hurt a little bit because I'm sure you've read or seen some of the stuff that was in the expanded universe. I mean, there was some amazing
I didn't read
stuff.
the books, but I knew of them. Timothy Zahn.
Timothy Zahn wrote a whole bunch of good stuff. The Thrawn trilogy was fantastic. I mean, there were so many series that were really good. And the fact that they didn't base any of the movies off of any of that
Han
stuff.
and Leia's kids, the twins and stuff like that.
Yeah. They did some really cool stuff, man. Revenge of the Sith. Well,
yeah.
okay.
Tom says, yeah. Despite those franchises, they just erased previous movies. So aggravating. Yeah, they're paying more attention to the previous movies
Mm-hmm.
than actually telling a story.
Yeah.
That like, I don't want that. I don't want that sort of feud
Mm-hmm.
happening on my screen. I want to be immersed in the story. And instead, you're watching the movie, going, that wasn't in the last movie. I don't want to. I don't want to be that. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be stuck in that movie
Yeah.
as much as possible and following the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Clone Wars is awesome, David. You are absolutely correct. The only issue I had with Clone Wars was the animation style.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my favorite animation style, and I find it really hard to get into. But I've noticed the animation got a lot better as the Clone Wars progressed into the later seasons. And I will admit, I might have to turn my nerd card in. I have not seen all of the Clone Wars.
I haven't.
So
Rebels, all that stuff.
I started watching Rebels, and that was really good. It was really like kid centric. It was really for kids.
Yeah. Again, not meant.
Yeah,
for us.
exactly. Yeah, and then the Bad Batch. That's another one that's supposed to be really cool.
So
I've seen a couple of those episodes.
Filoni and Favreau
Mhm.
did a really good job of sort of reincorporating a lot of that expanded universe
Mhm.
into
Mandalorian.
into
Boba
the
Fett.
current thing. So they've made strides.
I have not played any of the Avengers video games or Guardians of the Galaxy.
No. No, in me, all I have is my laptop and so in my phone. So maybe
There's no other than
no
the Switch
franchises.
in the house.
No AAAs.
Nobody owns a current system here.
Dave says neither have I, but still probably have a ton of Clone Wars episodes to watch.
Mhm.
The ones I've seen are sick. You can't like I haven't seen any of the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
I haven't seen any of Rebels.
Mhm.
I haven't seen any of Bad Batch. The only thing that I've seen is Mando and
Bubba.
Boba Fett. No,
Mhm.
Boba Fett, sure, but
Yeah.
I would consider that Mando as well, pretty much.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, it's very, very similar. And then the episodes where he appeared was awesome.
But I can say that having Filoni and Favreau together, making that material is awesome, and it will rectify a lot of that expanded universe issue that you had.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like that gives some great moments. Like if they just did that, if they just put them in movies, you wouldn't have those moments where you'd be like, oh, it's the guy.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they mentioned Thrawn and stuff like that.
I enjoyed Han Solo, the Solo movie. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good.
different. I had a hard time with the guy they picked to play Han Solo, but I don't think he was that. You know what I mean? I don't think
he wasn't dead on or nothing, but yeah.
But it was the movie was good.
I have 2 laptops, Xbox One. I haven't upgraded to the next gen yet.
Yeah, I don't see when I look at the current consoles, like the PS. Well, I can't say I've seen enough of PS5, but like the new Xbox and PS4, the graphics are so insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
How much better are these graphics going to get, and how much better do you need? And like around here, I never see any PS5s for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're always sold out, and I guess the Xbox Series whatever X, I don't know what even the current one is. I've never seen that for sale either. So it seems like most people are still playing old Xbox One and they're playing PS4 games.
I think you're on the right track because you focus more towards Oculus. You focus more towards VR.
Yeah, that's the only thing that like I current do other than the Switch. Lego Star Wars comes out next week on the Switch. Oh, okay. Yeah, my girls really haven't played any of those.
That's what they should do. They should come out with a Lego Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Lego movie was so amazing, and then they came out with the Batman, and that was amazing. And like they should just come out with a Lego Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
Well, that's something for us to talk about on the next episode of Nomad Radio. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
I didn't know that we had that left in our tank, and I'm glad that we did. I'm glad that we stuck around for people to.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, David. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Jamie. I think I covered everybody. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us very much. So Ben's got to go, and I got to go watch me some Moon Knight now that I know that it's out.
Right. I might actually watch an episode before I go to bed.
And also Morbius is coming. Okay, so we're gonna talk about MCU next episode.
Sure,
we'll just do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I'll be able to watch Moon Knight and all that stuff. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this probably the best episode of Nomad Radio we've done on YouTube yet. It's like a real life now. I follow a guy on Twitter who posts when stores release those systems and got lucky with a new Xbox.
Yeah.
Good night, my nerd friends. Yeah, let's continue this discussion next week, Wednesday night at 7 p.m., power permitting, weather permitting.
Eastern Standard Time.
Right here on YouTube. Once again, right where you see there, right up there. Like, subscribe, and get notified. Click those things so that you will be able to hang out with us next week.
Yeah, if you have plans for next week, cancel them. Our plans are better.
Yeah, just hang out with us 7 to 9. That's all we ask. And as always, follow us if you haven't followed us yet. Please share this broadcast with your friends. Always nice to make new friends. And we really mean this. Connect with us on social media at 3231. It's 3TWO3ONE. We love you very much. Appreciate you guys for hanging out and nerding out with us tonight. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.